Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to create some materials and add some lights to our model. Okay, so I think the first thing is we're going to create a backdrop. Let's create a backdrop for our model. So we're going to create a studio backdrop. So just bring in a cube with Shift A and bring in a cube like so, and then we're going to scale this cube. Okay, before we scale this cube, let's just go to our front view mode, then grab it with G and Z, and holding control on the keyboard to like, or more like snap, to snap. We are going to move the origin, okay, like so, and then we can scale this out. Scale this out to as big as you want. Okay, I think let's go back and let's move it again. Yeah, okay, like so. I just want it. Okay, anyways, that's okay for now. Anyways, that's okay. Then let's go to our face mode, and then we're going to delete a couple of edges. So let's select this edge, this edge, this edge, this edge, and then press X on the keyboard and delete faces. Okay, that should be okay for now. Should be okay. And then we can, I think let's go back to our object mode, and then let's bring it up. I want this model to be up above the surface. Okay, I want it to be above the surface. So hitting G and Z, and then we can bring it above the surface like so. Okay, and then for us to create an infinite backdrop, we need to bevel out these corners. Okay, so we go to our edge mode, click on that edge, also click on that edge on top. Then before we apply our bevel, remember we had scaled this thing. I think let me scale it more. Let me scale it along the y-axis. Let me scale it like that. Okay, I think also let me scale it on my x again. X like so. So because of this scaling, remember what I talked about in the earlier tutorials. So our scales have changed. So since our scales have changed here, it means that we're going to have issues with our bevels, and yeah, I think things like beveling especially, we're going to have issues. So we need to apply this bevel so that it resets everything. So that is Control A on the keyboard and scale, and then it resets our scale to 1 there. So at this point our bevels are going to work just properly. Okay, so let's go to our edge mode, select this edge and select the edge above, then Control B and bevel this, okay, to something like so. That should be okay. Then begin to scroll your mouse wheel. I think give it like 12 segments or so. You can be able to see the segments from down here. If you can, 12 segments. So you hit C to clamp the bevel. I think let me cancel it. Okay, that's okay. So bring it to like so, and click to end the operation. That should be okay. Then let's go to our object mode, and then right click and shade smooth. Then go to your object data panel there with that data properties, sorry. Then go to my numbers, make sure that auto smooth is selected. Okay, so we have created our backdrop over there. It's our backdrop, and okay, so there's this thing. Okay, I think this is my shadow is on. Let me just turn off my shadow so I can come up here with these round circles. Click on this, then turn off your shadows. Okay, then I'm going to have shadows. So if you notice, if I'm going to move these, if I want to move these objects, I have to select everything together because they are independent objects. So I have to select everything and then grab them, then I can move them as a whole. So the easiest way that we can group these together in Blender is by bringing in an empty. Okay, we're going to bring in an empty, and then we're going to parent everything to the empty, so that when we move the empty, everything moves along. So we're going to bring in an empty, shift A, bring an empty object. So I'm going to bring in a cube. I like the cube a lot. Okay, and then I will bring it up like so. Let me go to my front view mode, and then I'll scale my empty so that this bottle fits in the empty. So okay, let's go on, scale it like so, then scale it on the x axis like so, and bring it like so. This is okay. I think let's go to our other view, this one, which is our side view. Yeah, side view. So I'll scale it along the y axis like so. I think that is okay. Okay, so to parent this to our empty, we are going to click, we're going to select this photo, select the label, select the okay, I think we'll go step by step. So I'll select this lead holder. This is the lead holder. Select the holder, select the lead, select the bottle, and select the label, and then select the empty, the last object. Then we are going to do an Alt P, okay, and then you say, sorry, that was Control P on the keyboard, and then you parent the object. So this empty is now our parent. So if I press G, when I move the object, okay, when I move the empty object, everything that is within the empty object moves along with it, which is going to be very easy for us to work with. Okay, in terms of maybe you're doing things like animation and things like that, it's going to be so easy. Okay, I think this is okay. Now another thing that we're going to do is bring in a camera. Since we deleted the camera, so we bring in a camera, just press Alt A on the keyboard, Alt A on the keyboard, and bring in a camera, and we have a camera down there. Okay, so we have got a camera in our scene. So if we want to frame a shot, what we need to do is bring this view. Okay, we want to shoot this. We want the camera to capture this part. So we bring this view over like so on the screen. You frame it the way you want it to look like, and then holding Control Alt and 0 on the keyboard, this will bring our camera in that position. So if I hit 0 on the numpad, okay, so this will change the camera position. The camera will be framed according to the position that you want. So if I was to say I want to frame this shot like that, I want the camera to be in this position, I can just put Control Alt and 0 on the numpad, then the camera will move to this position. Okay, so I don't want my camera to be in, okay, I want the camera to be in this position. So when the camera is in this position, you can now lock the camera so that the camera does not move. Okay, as you can see, as I am scrolling right now, the camera is moving, you see. Okay, so if you click A, I want to lock the camera, so hit N on the keyboard, come to your view, okay, come to your view tab here, and then come to lock. So you lock camera to view. Okay, so you lock the camera, then you're going to see these red lines. So when you lock your camera to view, now what's happening is that you are no longer moving the object. You know, you are now total control over the camera line. Okay, so by default this camera has got a view of, if you come to your output settings, so by default our camera has got a resolution of 1920 by 1080 pixels. Okay, so you can play around with these pixels depending on what kind of platform you're going to use it on and what you're going to use it for. Okay, so I'm just going to change this to like and the X, let's give it like 2000, and by 1500, something like that. It's not so bad. Or let me just do it in the reverse, 1000 by 2000, yeah, something like that. And then when you see that your camera is going off screen, you go back to your camera settings by hitting N and unlock this camera. Okay, unlock the camera, and then you scroll using your scroll wheel, or holding control, yeah, holding control and holding the mouse wheel. You can position the camera where you want it to be, and then when you're done framing it in that way, you can hit the lock camera to view and go off the settings by hitting N again, and now we have locked the camera like that. Okay, we've locked the camera, we've locked in our camera like so, which is good for us. Yeah, I think we have done a lot. I think our next step, if we want to go out of the camera, just hit 0 on the numpad, and then you have the camera, and then you can go into your perspective mode like this. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is try to bring in some light. We're going to add some lights to this model. Okay, so if you hit A on the keyboard, there is a number of lights there. So these lights are, I think they mostly work in Eevee. The light bulbs work in Eevee, but you can just use these lights. Okay, so the light that I like to work with a lot is the area light. Okay, so we have an area light. I think it's under the plane. So if you hold G, if you hold G, Z, if you click on them, you're going to have this plane, which is our area light. You can scale this light by hitting Z, S, sorry. You can scale it like so. You can scale it as big as you want. Okay, so when you bring in your light, notice that on your menus here, on these icons, you're going to have something like, which looks like a bulb, a light bulb. Okay, so this is where your settings are for your light. Okay, so it's showing me that it has got 10 watts of power. Okay, so if we want to see our effect of the light, we need to go into our rendered view mode. Okay, so we are just going to go back into our camera by hitting the 0 on the keyboard. I think my screencast keys are not working. They are working. Wait, why can't I see them? Screencast keys. Okay, I don't know what happened. They just stopped working. Okay, okay. So I was saying, if we want to see the light of the effect of the light on this model, we have to we have to go into our render view mode. So when you go into our render view mode, okay, so if we want to see what's going on in our render view mode, we have to go to our render properties here, so render settings. So by default, the render engine that Blender uses is Eevee. So I do not want to use Eevee, I want to use Cycles. So I'll change this to Cycles, and I've got a GPU on my CPU. So the device, it is rendering on the CPU. So I've got a GPU in my PC, so I'll change this to GPU. If you want to select the GPU that you have on your machine, go up to the edit, go to your preferences, go to system, and you'll find that by default it will be on none. So you can choose whether you want CUDA, optics, and this heap. And then for Blender 3.4, it has got another option. So I'll just go with CUDA. You can go with CUDA or optics. These two should be okay. Then you can activate your GPU. Like for me, I've got a GTX 1060, so I activated, and my CPU is also activated. So I'm more like using a hybrid rendering kind of thing. Okay, so right now I can't see anything because my light up here is not as strong as I want it to be. So I can just click on this line here, which is a projection line or target line, select it, then go to my object properties of the light, and then I can power this up. Okay, can change this light, so I can say, let me give it like 100 watts, give it 100 watts and enter. You should see something going on. Okay, it's nothing. 100 watts, enter. Yeah, there's something coming up. Let's give it like 500. Let's go with 500. Yeah, and you can see things are now getting to show. So everything looks so white right now because these are just default Blender materials. And I think we can, let's go to our perspective mode. In a perspective mode like that, I want to bring down this photo to be stepping on the plane there. So I'm just going to click on the empty and then GZ to bring it down, or bring it down like so. Okay, this is going in, and so is this okay? It's not down yet, so GZ and bring it down like so. Yeah, it steps down there. Okay, let's go to our camera mode, and yeah, you see that it's now getting real. Things are now getting real. Okay, so quickly let me just show you how you can create a studio lighting setup. Okay, so a studio lighting setup is where you put a light on top, and then you put some side lights. You have got a light in the front side as well. So I'll just duplicate this light with Shift D. Okay, Shift D, duplicate this light, and then I will move it along my Y. Move it along my Y, and then I'll rotate it on my X, hitting R and rotate 90 degrees. And I will scale this down. I'll scale it down like that, and then bring it down. I'll bring it down like so. I think I'll scale it down again and bring it up like so. Bring it up like so. It should be okay. I think it's quite a bit far. I think I can push it like so to somewhere there. That should be okay. Then I can duplicate this again with Shift Z. So I'm moving a little bit fast right now, so that we can not waste so much time on these keys. And then I'll move this to the other side, then rotate on my Z, okay, axis, and then I'll go 90 degrees. Let's go 180 degrees. That should be okay. Okay, so let's go to our camera. Let's hit on the numpad, and you can see we now have lights from this side and lights from the other side and lights from the top. So we now want to have one light on the front. Okay, one light on the front. So we just duplicate this again, and what's this, X axis, and then rotate this, I think 90 degrees. Let's say negative 90 degrees, somewhere like so. And let's move this along the Y axis to bring it in somewhere in the center. I need to shoot it in the center, so I will bring this to like so, to somewhere like so. This is going to be at the back of the camera. Okay, it's going to come. Yeah, so you can see these reflections that are going on. So we've got this light, that light. Okay, and yeah, that's how we set up a studio light setup. And you know, right now everything seems to be off, and this is because of the materials. When we add some materials, the lighting will begin to react in different ways, and we're going to begin to adjust the lights and things like that. Okay,